Jesus James Angleton, the way you spin that story round. Always sharp, just like a tack when you're tracking the price of the dollar and pound. But drop the narrative, that thing that you inherited. Your history homos chariot just pulled up outside. Scott, William, Patrick on the scene, they're breaking up the subroutine. Something's crackling in your brain, MK Ultra make you go insane. Hey, don't you know we're only on the case for a good time, baby? Took a Rhodes pill, now I'm reading these books for a long time, baby. Honey pots and psyop traps, you can trust the plan until you snap. Slop conspiracy everywhere. History homos clear the air. Close your eyes, what's truth or lie? Hiding in the space between. Reality's a tangled scene. Tune in, you'll know what I mean. Close your eyes, what's truth or lie? Hiding in the space between. Reality's a tangled scene. Tune in, you'll know what I mean. Hey, history homos only on the case for a good time, baby. Took a Rhodes pill, now I'm reading these books for a long time, baby.
And we're live. Welcome back to the show. Very exciting episode this week. Joining us this week, well, William's back here again. So glad to have him back. Welcome back, William.
Oh, thank you for having me.
But also ecstatic to be rejoined by the very first guest of
Yeah, we've got the
History
original
podcast.
gang back together.
Yeah. And also not just that, but like the subject, and it couldn't, like, I just want to say a quick, so Pat Dixon, welcome back to the show. Obviously, sorry I blew my wad there, but
Thank you. No. It's perfect. It's a perfect introduction.
well, Pat, I just wanted to say it couldn't be under better circumstances that we, like, this entire episode just sort of fell into our laps. Like God gave us this, basically.
Yeah. I
It
mean,
is a
literally,
gift.
the story ended yesterday.
It's so, it's perfect. It's so perfect.
As we tape, the final bit of this story happened yesterday. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Unless it's one of those stories like at the end of Flash Gordon, like the end question mark.
Question mark.
Yeah.
Or Halloween. Yeah.
It could be because, like, we're talking about a beautiful lady, exactly my type in every way, both
A 6.
physically. Yeah, she's a 6, and she's a psycho. Perfect.
Which makes her a 10.
Yeah, exactly.
But also, more importantly, or not more importantly, but equally of importance, is the fact that we're once again visited by a guy I always want to bring up all the time. But you know, there's only limited circumstances you could bring up Grant Amato. But Grant
Yeah.
Amato just forced his way back into the news cycle. God bless this man.
He's gotten away with it too.
He can't keep getting away with it.
I mean, he's locked in prison for life without parole. So, I mean, you know,
Yeah.
to the degree that you can get away with stuff. I mean, you can get away with anything once that happens.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can do.
Well, let me
whatever.
make a. I've been thinking a lot about this because what do we know about Grant Amato? Grant Amato's thing was to jack off to video and pictures of women who weren't really present with him.
Yeah.
So jail. I mean, what's the diff?
Yeah.
That's what he
No
gets
arguments
to do.
here. Yeah. I mean, it's you know, he gets to spend his life to. Well, they seem to have a problem with you having certain electronics in prison. No,
Right.
Yeah.
So he's gonna be slick.
kind of needs those, you know, to get the kind of woman he's after. Yeah, it might be perfect. I think you might be right.
Yeah, because you can't have it just there all the time. I think that was what got him into trouble in the first place, that he was able
Right.
to access the internet all the time. I think he's probably enjoying it now now that he has to, like,
It's a special treat.
you know, it's like secret drug addicts and alcoholics. Hiding the gin bottle in the lavatory cistern is all part of the fun, isn't it?
Yes. Oh my God, you're speaking my language, brother.
I wouldn't know anything about that.
No.
Well, I definitely underestimated prison appeal, you know, when it
Yeah.
comes to women, because I mean, you Ted Bundy, he's whatever, supposed to be pretty charming, right?
Right.
Richard
Supposedly, yeah.
Ramirez, he's got that, you know, you remember Richard Ramirez,
Yeah.
that dark,
Like a weird goth kid. Yeah.
yeah, that satanic appeal. Grant Amato, the only thing he's got going for him is he killed his whole family.
Yeah, because I don't think
Real panty wetter.
But if you go like to the Ted Bundy being charming thing, no, but none of these women that write to him in prison know that he's charming. They might have heard somebody say that he's
True.
charming, but he might as well be Grant Amato at this point. But once he's locked up, he's just some guy that you might go and visit once a year or something. At best.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's dead, you know, now, so.
Yeah. True. Also, he probably had something to do with like CIA assassinations and stuff too, but that's a whole other can of worms.
Honestly,
All right. It all goes back to Israel, you know.
yeah.
So true.
my honest take on it is that I think it's good for Grant Amato that he's locked up now, because now he's physically settled down, hasn't he? He's
Quite literally, yeah.
yeah, he has settled down. He knows where he's going to be for the rest of his life. It's time he got married.
Yeah. Charlie Manson got married.
Yeah, get married in jail, start having kids, little Amatos.
You
Yeah.
can't fault his taste in women.
No, mate. I
You
mean,
know,
I.
the
it's
first
just-
one totally out of touch, blows the whole fortune on jacking off to her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where is she in his time of trouble? Nowhere to be found.
True.
Oh,
Andrew
woman.
Tate took away her internet privileges when she made headlines.
Bulgarian ass bitch. You know.
Yeah.
Wait, bitch in Bulgaria. And then this one, you know, who obviously is, you know, that's a keeper right there. Any woman who plots to kill her husband.
For you.
Yeah.
For you. That's a major asterisk there. If she just plots to kill her husband, maybe, you know, you're next. But for you.
Yeah.
I'm the guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But see, like, Grant's played it perfect because he's in jail. He can't. I mean, sure, he can get raped and shanked and things, but
As him sure he does.
yeah,
Just every day. Hard.
He's holding onto
But-
some guy's pocket as we speak.
I got the real attraction. But if there's like a Venn diagram, well, I don't know, would it be a pie chart probably of like
Sure.
a woman's personality? Most of it is jealousy.
A
And
good
so
portion,
I
yeah.
think that's why they like the men to be in jail.
Right, so no one could get at
They're
them.
not dating
Right,
anybody else. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good insight. I like that. Yeah.
yeah,
But there's some of them you can't stop. You know, Susan Smith had like in the teens of lovers, or romantic interest, paramours, pen pal
is that
paramours.
big fat woman who was in jail in upstate New York?
No, it's this. Well, I don't think she's in jail up there. She was a murderer of her kids in South Carolina because her lover wanted her to get rid of her kids in order to,
Right.
She
I remember
Very
that
late
would-
term abortion.
Yeah. She thought that would clinch it, and that
Yeah.
would seal the deal. Anyway, she's like 50 now, and that because that was way back in the 80s, and now there was one guy in his 50s who was writing to her and stuff, and he thought it was going well. Then he found out about all these other guys. It's like, man,
He was heartbroken.
That's the saddest motherfucker in the world. And Grant Amato has got no choice. He's locked up. This guy's free.
Yeah. That's bad. That's bad.
Yeah. But yeah, so Grant, we'll get to Grant. Let's talk a little bit of the backstory here about the main player of the story here is one Victoria Goodwin. Now, interestingly, I want to say there's no wiki page on this entire story, which is like really weird. What is this like? We got a Franklin scandal and fucking Grant Amato's baby mama here is the two things that Wikipedia won't touch.
Yeah. And maybe it's just too hot and fresh.
True, you're right. But sometimes I remember there was a like Las Vegas shooting wiki page the morning it happened.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. I don't know why there would not be a wiki page about this.
It's crazy. I literally spent 5 minutes before we guys got together this morning, clicking around Wikipedia. I went on like the Grant page. There's no. The only link is to Ghost Adventures, and I went to the Ghost Adventures page, and there's not. There's not even an Aaron Goodwin wiki page.
Oh.
I hope that's not the extent of your research 5 minutes before the show trying to find out.
No, actually. No, I actually
we've gone deep.
Yeah, we go probably a little too deep, a little schizo territory, honestly, with it.
My favorite aspect of this, I think, I'm going to say this about a few aspects of it because there's lots of lovely aspects.
So true.
But I think my favorite aspect is that this bitch did a motivational podcast appearance.
Yes, this is my favorite part too, so you're vindicated.
Right. Which came out anyway in December.
So in the interim between her supposed attempt at killing her husband, in real life, and being caught for it, yes,
crazy, and she like. I don't know if you listen to it, Pat, but it's like the absolute number one. It's peak cunt podcasting, where these women just say a sample conversation would be, "Oh, I'm biracial, and it's really hard for me because I'm white presenting." Oh yeah, I'm biracial too, and it's also really hard for me because I'm white presenting, and then they both giggle.
Yeah,
that's it.
So she goes from saying,
wait, hold on. I just got to break in. As a strong black woman, I'm really offended by this. As a white presenting strong black woman,
right?
Yeah.
White and male presenting strong black woman. Yeah. You know what? I listened to as much of the podcast as I could. It was maybe 14 minutes, which I was like, Jesus. I thought maybe we were going to get to some details of planning a murder or something. There's nothing. It's just her, like you said, peak cunt podcasting.
True.
Which very well may be the best title for a podcast I've ever heard.
Yeah, I mean, they really are. Both the women on this podcast are
insufferable.
Absolutely. They've got nothing to say. All they can do is
have plenty to say
complain.
about themselves, but nothing to say about anything like concrete or like. It was interesting because she details the fact that she went through this experimental therapy, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" I ended up having to do. Speaking of research, I watched a 30-minute video on the topic of this therapy, by the way. But I didn't. She didn't. A big aspect of this podcast appearance was the fact that both of these two cunts had gone through this experimental immersion therapy, and they didn't say fucking word one about it. They didn't get to anything of substance at all. They just said, "Oh yeah, it was super intense. Oh, me too, totally intense." Now let's just move on to more about me.
I'm going to give you. Let's just to give it a bit of structure. I'll go through because I've researched Victoria Goodwin very thoroughly because she's honestly she's right on my street.
Is she on Match? Is she on Tinder?
So Victoria Goodwin, I'm not sure how old she is.
She's 35. She's a little older than me.
Right. She's from LA, living in Las Vegas.
She's from the Orange County, in fact, which is like the wealthy area outside of LA.
Well, yeah, because she claims to be mixed race, part Salvadoran father and part Irish / German mother.
Yeah.
Right.
Some white lady.
So she's a white lady, yeah, because
a race traitor. Sorry.
Well, look, you see,
I know I'm being glib, but go ahead. Yeah.
This guy, so he's emigrated from the grandparents lived. She went to see her grandparents in El Salvador. So her father is the immigrant, right? And she was born. When were you? So she was born in the 90s.
1989.
So he emigrated sometime before, well, in the 80s.
1980s, in the Iran-Contra era.
Yeah. So the guy, also looking at Salvadoran demographic information in the United States, the city with the highest population of highest percentage of Salvadoran immigrants is Washington, D.C. What I'm saying is her dad is a CIA spook.
Something like that, yeah.
Who enrolled her in this weird therapy. And like, so this therapy angle, it's because all women's podcasts in America are always all about.
It's therapeutic.
Therapy. Yeah, it's just about everybody's having 7.
Doing the podcast is part of the therapy process, I think.
Yeah, yeah. And so, yeah, she's having this therapy because she's been diagnosed with a thing called CPTSD, which stands for complex post-traumatic stress disorder, right? And so I'm expecting it. She gets into this right at the beginning of the podcast appearance, and I'm expecting to say, "Oh, well, yeah, I was raped as a kid, or I saw my brother get murdered in El Salvador, or something." Yeah. But no.
I had an idyllic middle-class childhood.
Yeah, yeah. You know what the complex trauma? By the way, before I tell you what the complex trauma was, the reason it's complex PTSD, which is worse than PTSD, by the way, because
according to her, anyway.
It never goes away, right?
Long PTSD,
but
PTSD toes.
Yeah. And what makes it even worse for her is that she can't just. She literally says, like, if I was a soldier or something and I'd seen these horrible things happening in war, then I could just not go to war and I wouldn't see them anymore. Right, but I can't get away from it. It's worse for me.
And I have to eat every day.
Yeah. Do you know what the trauma was? Having to quit golf.
Damn. Where's the audio effects board when you need it to make any sound?
Wow.
I would have been close. My guess would have been when it snowed at her first tournament in Oregon.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, man, that was some complex. So basically she has it worse than your average GWOT veteran who watched his buddy's arm get blown off by a roadside bomb with a 2-ton truck or whatever. Basically, she obviously has it worse because she has to eat every day.
Yeah.
Constant stress in the desert with the fighting and the threat of being blown up and the gases and shit like that. No, that's fine. It's quitting golf. That's the real tragedy.
That's the. So she says she's good at golf.
37%. 37 women who had to quit golf commit suicide a day. Did you know that?
God, if only that were true.
She's got this other illness. Which she leads with, which she claims is a degenerative illness, but according to the NHS website, isn't. Let me just have a. Hang on, you'll have to fill for me because I need to look up I've forgotten what the fucking thing's called.
But basically, the thing is, like, so as you said before, it's like complex PTSD. So it's not one event that actually caused her to feel bad about herself or whatever. It's actually like it's a complex. Literally, it's like, oh, you have a complex. You hear that turn of speech. This is where it comes from. This idea that it's like a complex of PTSD or whatever.
Yeah. It's made up of a number of things.
Yes.
So
she's batshit insane and also has fucking anorexia.
Well, no.
she's
she's a very thin lady who vomits every time she eats. Okay, that doesn't mean she's got anorexia.
I think she's recovering. Have you seen her lately? She's definitely. I don't think she's been throwing up every time she eats anymore.
She's got achalasia. It's called. Which I look because I thought, I bet that's a made-up woman disease, and it may well be. But I looked it up on the National Health Service website, and that it says it's basically a faulty sphincter in your.
Right. And can I also say, I also would say that it is an extant disease, but it's generally speaking, and then I'll get to that in a second. But generally speaking, it's found only within elderly men. Like old men whose guts have given up because they've been eating fucking pork rinds their whole life.
From what I read, it sounded like club sandwiches at the poker table. All that
exactly,
stuff. It sounded like you said, a sphincter in her esophagus or something. It's not lined up properly, so it actually pushes the food back out.
Yeah, it spasms or something. I don't know, something.
It's just a bulimic who can't take accountability.
100%. And that's she probably has got it, and that's probably what caused it.
Yeah,
because right at the beginning of the show, she says, "Oh well, yeah, I love it. I love monstering McDonald's fries." That's
yeah, I'm a McDonald's fry girly.
A fry girl. I noticed during the podcast a couple of times she did refer to herself like she was, fetishizing junk food, but she called herself a fry girl. And then another time she called herself a sunny SoCal girl.
Yeah,
a baby, a sunny SoCal baby. She like women who summarize themselves like that, are that's a red flag.
Yeah, well, it's a green flag, isn't it, Pat? Let's just.
Yeah, no, you're right. Attraction to Grant Amato, that's a red flag.
Correct. Yeah.
If only she found me, I could have fixed her.
You're just as far away, practically as he is.
Yeah. But yeah, so as speaking more on her though, so I think you're, by the way, William, I think you're low key on to something about this with the dad angle, because Salvadorian, like we already know that's like an outpost for like goofy Iran Contra shit. First of all,
it's a CIA base.
Basically, yeah. And secondly, they're like a wealthy, like what fucking when I think of El Salvadorans in America, everyone that I've like sort of been conscious of, it's a dishwasher. Like, you know what I mean? So if this guy's somehow magically marrying a white woman in a wealthy suburb of LA, which is already one of the most expensive places, like what did this dude do?
Yeah. He's not like, he hasn't just come out of the rice paddies.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
He's not one that she goes, "Oh, my dad is really, really dark." Oh, really? Let's see a photograph of the twat.
Yeah, let's take a peek.
I don't believe you.
My sister's so much darker than me. She has brown hair.
Well, I think that's her sister is sitting next to her in the courtroom. I believe it's her sister, and her sister is just. I mean, she's a little bit brown and she's got dark hair, and she's fat.
Yeah.
Right.
But that was part of her tragedy. Part of her backstory was saying that, like, oh, people thought I was adopted because my dad was, so dark and ethnic looking.
Also, she claims to be blonde, but a few months in prison has proved that she's in fact ginger.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it's a kind of.
Why cover that up? Damn.
Well, that kind of leads us to our thesis that if he's red hair is like a sort of Hebraic characteristic. Looking at Hispanic Jewish people such as Louis C.K. red hair as well. But yeah, no, the thing with the thing that's amazing here is that at 35 she isn't like a bowling ball with like 4 kids and 4 feet tall, like, so clearly she's not a fucking Hispanic person, because every 35-year-old Hispanic woman is a meatball.
Yeah, how come she ain't working at a motel somewhere?
But this does, I will say this, but to one pro and con, one tick in the biracial like in the box would be that it does vindicate my theory, at least, that everyone who is biracial is mentally ill.
Yeah. Also, but I want to clear this up. How come she can go on an LA podcast, which is obviously aimed at libtard women,
Yeah, women who don't actually work,
misdefine what racism is and just skate on that? Because we know that racism is prejudice plus power, isn't it? And the only racism she was complaining about, she never said white people were racist to her. She she was bitching about was, oh, how come this bitch buying a quinceañera dress? I say, and like those Hispanic people can't be racist. They don't have power.
I think that in a libtard woman's mind, before any of those like academic definitions of what racism is, was, or could be, it's more about what made me feel bad today. Like,
yeah, it's a safe space, guys. Come on.
Yeah. I know we're being too critical.
No, she's talking to another stupid liberal cunt, and it's peak cunt podcasting. They're just behind closed doors. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They're not gonna, you can't expect them to be consistent with the narrative in that situation.
Yeah, they are just talking about feelings, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, that's what it's all about at the end of the day.
Yeah, folks. And let's tell the folks what the delightful Victoria's feelings prompted her to do.
Victoria Goodwin.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we missed the whole part about how she had her own golf business,
right,
which consisted of her
training people
golf.
to play golf. Yeah.
Oh, did she do that? Okay. Well,
yeah. She had to like a gym.
Cool. So 17-year-old boys can do this too at golf country clubs as well. You can hire a 17-year-old boy for $10 a day to do this too, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah, but she was really good at golf, don't forget.
So good.
Well, you saw the social media post from her husband saying, like, "Oh, my Valentine." This is the last, I don't know if it was the last one, but it's, after she had tried to kill him.
Yeah.
It's like, my Valentine always beats me at mini golf.
She can still chump him in mini golf. Wow. Bravo.
She could have just brained him. Presumably she's got a pretty good swing.
Yeah.
Let's go to the driving range, honey.
Okay, so yeah, you're right. We should get to so basically in April 16th, 2024, a documentary series called Control Alt Desire premiered on Paramount Plus.
Right.
And that documentary series was focused on none other than Grant Amato.
Yeah, well, I mean, they saw the success of our episode that we did on it with
clearly,
Pat, and they just went, we got to try and top this. They failed.
Yeah, I think I like the title that they went with, Control Alt Desire, because they went through a few. The first one was Control Alt Jack Off.
Control Alt Murder your family.
Demolish your family. But yeah, so
by the way, I know we've got a lot of new listeners, so you got to go back through the archives and find this Grant Amato episode.
You did just 2 weeks ago say you got to go back and listen to the Grant Amato episode. So,
well, I reiterate that.
That was the hardest I've laughed probably in years. Was during that we were talking about court, and, it really hit me, But this chick with her husband, by the way, like, are you gonna sort of talk about how they fucking got together? Because this goes back to like 2017, 2018, right? And they met somehow, I don't know, and then they were gonna get married after a little while, but it was delayed by COVID. They got married. Yeah. He proposed to her in front of the big fucking, at the Disneyland, that big castle shit. And then they got married.
Disney adults.
Yeah. They got married at the what do you call it? And
the haunted mansion.
The haunted mansion ride.
Yeah.
So this guy's a dork.
Yeah.
I mean, just a total fucking, dork. He's like, there's pictures of him. He's dressed up like Ken to her Barbie. You know, and he's into it. You know, I mean, he doesn't care. And he's
I gotta say,
by the way, also to what an absolute cook is, this Acacia nonsense that she claims to have, the top line symptom of it is you can't swallow. So I'm like, the first thing I thought when I saw that was, okay, this bitch is faking an illness so she doesn't have to suck dick.
Yeah. My mind didn't go there. I'll be honest.
I know it's such a perfect joke opportunity. Yeah. And it went right by. Damn.
But yeah, no, and so I got to tell you, Pat, I think this guy's gay, and this is a beard situation, which is why it obviously led to her straying in the marriage to a guy she doesn't actually have to see.
It makes sense. It didn't occur to me, but it does make sense. But I mean, why would a guy? He's basically a camera operator and one of the guys on
sidekick
on Ghosted, one of these ghost shows. Yeah, Ghost Adventures or something. Yeah, whatever. Been on since 2008. You know, I mean, like these shows, there's several of them, and yeah, why would he need a beard? Why he's not famous enough to? Okay, yeah. Personal reasons.
Yeah, it could be. And like,
maybe he doesn't know he's gay.
See,
if you hear this guy talk, you know he's gay, though. He just has the voice.
Oh, this is spooky.
Yeah. Oh my God! I think there's some spirits in here.
There is this crazy woman type as well, which like when you're dating them, they present as being really randy, right? But they're not really. They just want a guy. They're not really interested in sex. They just want to have a man. So like if she finds like a rich gay guy, a rich, deeply closeted gay guy,
right,
who's also just pretending to be into it, then
or maybe a convicted murderer.
Yeah, exactly. And then you replace him with somebody who's even less into it, or even less able to
seal the deal. Yeah.
You're more likely to have the gay guy just fucking fuck you occasionally.
Yeah, come home drunk one day and imagine a guy. Yeah.
She got tired of wearing a false mustache in bed.
Honey, the beard is itchy. I don't want to wear it tonight.
He'd come home drunk, and she'd be like all pilled up on sleeping pills, and the only reason she'd know she'd had sex in the night was she still had a false mustache on in the morning.
And her ass hurts.
And also, like, anorexia does make him start growing mustaches, doesn't it?
Anorexia also makes you have no curves either, so you look like a guy.
Well, that takes a while, but I don't think they were. I mean, like if you had a good beard, then obviously at the Best Western that he was staying at, wherever, when all this went down, or didn't go down, which is weird. It's like I thought for sure that there was going to be somebody murdered in this.
I got a theory on that too. But we'll come to that. I want to talk a little more about this relationship first.
Yeah, the queer ass relationship. I mean, it's just like like you said, married on the haunted mansion, all that shit. I've never heard him talk, but like I was just thinking, dork. I didn't,
Well, here's the other thing. So I saw some leaked text between Grant and so she saw this documentary. She doesn't work, which whatever. I don't care about that.
But how the hell does she?
But she sits around and watches TV all day, and then she just sees Grant Amato on TV, starts plotting in her mind, starts texting him somehow.
Yeah, well, I can speak to that because I've just figured it out. How? So he gets a burner phone smuggled into jail up somebody's ass.
Like you do.
Yeah. And it's a smartphone. And somehow he's got a Facebook account. Right? Because I've read in reports, it says it was text messages and Facebook. So she's found him on
Family Slayer 69.
Yeah. She's found him on Facebook somehow.
Yeah.
Because I can't imagine it's under his own name. And started messaging him on Facebook, and then he sent her his mobile number.
I think if I'm not mistaken, there were real letters at first.
Right.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
And then they just grew from there,
But yeah, they plotted this shit on Facebook. Some of the messages.
What an idiot!
I mean, like, so answer me this, Pat. This is right up in your wheelhouse. Let's say let's say a few years back, if you and I were DMing each other on Messenger about vaccines, or if Scott and I were DMing each other about Palestine, Facebook would be all over us and reporting us to the authorities before you could say Jack Robinson. But plot to murder your husband, that's fine. Facebook didn't alert shit about it.
They said unalive him, so it didn't kick off the flag.
Yeah, they couched it in subtle little things like that.
Take a pew pew and unalive my husband.
It was all in code.
But okay,
yeah, and
so
it went on a while. And it went on a while. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say during that while, as you're alluding to, she was like bitching about their relationship and stuff. So I saw some of these leaked texts, and she's repeatedly talking about a person who she refers to as what's this guy's name? Aaron.
Yeah.
A guy who she keeps referring to as Aaron's smoking buddy. Air quotes hers.
Right. Yeah.
Really?
Yes. And this person's name is redacted consistently throughout these papers that I looked through.
Right.
Smoking buddy?
Yes.
Okay, that's pretty conclusive.
Yeah,
yes, I know. So yeah, my
quotes?
eyes leaped out of my head when I saw that.
Because you know that it means, and this supports a theory of mine. Cigars, right? They must be that. Yeah, cigars are for fags.
Yeah. Agree.
Period.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. No, that is true.
I hate this. Cigar smokers are not smokers.
Not you though, English Mark. All cigar smokers except you.
And Patrick, you're on fucking watch.
And there could be old dudes, who like, hey, Columbo's cool, right?
Yeah.
Or Jack Klugman, Jack Warden, those kind of people. People named Jack in general are pretty clear.
Yeah.
True.
But,
Bill Clinton's pretty cool smoking a cigar.
Yeah, but anybody with a smoking buddy.
Yeah, no, gay. So gay.
He's my smoking buddy.
There's like a confluence of gayness going on. We had his voice. We got here's the other thing. Guy's a millionaire from being this hit show, and he's got a wife, no kids.
Yeah.
Gay.
That is a bit gay, isn't it?
It's gay. Not like you're like, oh man, I don't know if we're gonna be able to have enough for their college degree. Shut the fuck up. You were on a TV show and you trick idiots as part of your fucking job,
If you love Disneyland that much, especially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not have a kid to take with you?
That's what I mean, dude.
The perfect accessory.
Even if you were to view it as thus, you have enough money yet you can just give your kid to a fucking nanny all day too. That's the fucking craziest part. Yeah. You're clearly gay if you're like so averse to putting your things.
Oh, I could totally see them giving the kid to a nanny all day and then going to Disneyland without the kid.
Yes. It's a sad thing what your mother and father be doing.
Now drink your juice. But in fairness, though, I mean, like, as far as the kids thing goes, it really has only been, a couple of years. It's, not that they got a lot of time to spare. I mean, they're getting up there, but still.
Millionaire. That's all I have to say about it.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, really, people have. I'm the kind of guy who doesn't get married unless the bitch is already pregnant. You got to road test that shit and make sure it works.
Well, I mean, you had me at smoking buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But okay, so a couple more things about them. So I guess I'll just get onto the Grant stuff. Yeah. So again, as you had just said, Pat, it started out with letters, and I don't know why that slipped my mind, but yeah, that makes sense. Obviously, he would send her a letter being, okay, I made a burner Facebook account. Its name is Tommy Jefferson. Just add that, and then we'll fucking DM.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But yes. Yeah, the other thing I want to say, so let's talk a little bit about this therapy thing. Because this therapy that she's talking about, she did over the course of having plotted to kill her husband. And at the time of recording this podcast where she's talking about, oh my God, EMDR therapy. Wow, it saved my life, totally changed my life, made me so much more well-balanced or whatever. It's like, well balanced enough to be able to kill your plot to kill your fucking husband.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude.
Sometimes things seem like a new level of clarity with the something else.
So
that's
okay,
very true.
I'll talk a little bit. So I watched a 30-minute video, or it's probably longer, but I didn't watch the end of it because it was just him going, well, I don't want to say it's completely fake. So there's this guy on YouTube, his account was called like Neurotransmissions or something. So shout out to him. There's a lot of what I'm about to say just comes from that video. So go check it out. So EMDR therapy is started by a woman named Susan Shapiro, who was actually like a English PhD candidate in the 1980s, and she 70s actually, and then she got breast cancer and beat it. So she took the chemotherapy and got breast cancer and beat the cancer and survived. And after that, she was like, "Wow, I don't really want to be a PhD in literature anymore. I want to go find myself." So she went to the West Coast, and mind you, again, this is in 1979, 1980 that this happened. And she went over and she this is a quote from her, did every alternative therapy program she could find.
Right.
Was on the West Coast in the 1980s doing alternative therapy approaches and hypnosis, by the way. She tried hypnosis as well. So
we're talking about like Church of Satan stuff.
I'm talking about like the Esalen Institute.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So Pat, I don't know if you know about the Esalen Institute. It's a CIA affiliated, like it's a honeypot basically. You go there and do like all nude like immersion therapy where you like scream and like shit like that. It's all
like
weird
self.
I've been doing that at home. I mean, why do I gotta go there?
Self-criticism sessions.
Yeah, like struggle.
Again, Pat, we've been doing that at home all our lives.
I know, it's Khmer Rouge around here.
But yeah, so it's weird stuff, and a bunch of like serial killer type people have all been like associated with it. Like Charles Manson notably attended it for a bunch. And also if you remember that cult from the 80s, Synanon, Pat, remember there was
I don't recall.
Okay, but do you ever see that that first George Lucas movie, THX 1138?
I've heard of it. I never saw it.
Okay, so everyone in the movie's bald in it, but but they didn't want to pay people to get their head shaved for the movie, so they hired this cult, Synanon, to come because they already shaved their heads. So they make an appearance in that movie. But yeah, they're all fucked up too. It's all about mind control and weird shit like that. So, but regardless, I'm saying this woman has all but told us that she went and participated in these weird studies and experimental therapies and stuff like that. And then she starts let me just quickly pull up this lady's name. She started here we go. A research institute called the Mental Research Institute, Palo Alto, California.
Right.
And so sounds spooky, by the way.
Doesn't sound fishy at all. No, what are you talking about?
The Mental Research Institute. And it is since discredited, by the way. So she got a PhD from a PhD mill. And her thesis had only 22 people who were in the study.
Right.
Okay.
And okay, so let me just tell you a little bit about the therapy itself. So it's called eye movement desensitization and reprocessing therapy. And basically the story goes is that she was walking in the woods. So this is after she's already decided she wants to be a therapist / psychologist, but before she could come up with a thesis. So she's literally walking in the woods to go, all right, what's my scam going to be?
Yeah.
And so she says that her story is that she was walking through the woods and reprocessing some negative experiences she had related to her cancer diagnosis, cancer treatment, et cetera, and so forth. And while she was doing it, she was moving her eyes, like her literal eyeballs, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth like that. And just kept thinking about it, sort of doing immersion therapy, basically. It's in common, psychiatric, research. But it paired it with this looking back and forth thing. And then she said, oh, wow, afterwards, I just magically felt better about it.
Wow.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
So
you felt better because you thought up what your scam was going to be.
Yes, true. Yeah. So she systematized this basically, and the way that it works. By the way, William, did you end up getting around to reading the controllers yet?
No.
Okay, doesn't matter. I'll explain what happened, what the connection is anyway. But so they've since her initial coming up with it, it's expanded quite a bit. She died in 20. So she came up with that therapy style in 1987, and she died in 2017. So she definitely was changing it throughout the entire time. And since
when
then,
when you say back and forth eye movements, you had glare on your glasses. So I couldn't see what you were doing. Do you mean left and right?
all directions. Like it's actually like systematized where you go like diagonals, up, down,
Oh,
left,
right,
right,
okay.
like that.
And what is that supposed to do?
No, absolutely nothing in reality, Pat. To answer your
Cost
question,
$250 an hour.
supposedly it's sort of like the idea of like, you know how like when bodybuilders they talk about, oh, you want to do muscle confusion where you like want to move in a different way, not the same curls every time.
Okay.
It's similar to
yeah.
that.
Oh, I'm very familiar with bodybuilding. Yes.
Whatever, I don't know. But the idea is like you want to not just do the same curl every time. You want to do it a different way so your muscle actually does it. So the idea is like if you're moving your eyes in a certain way, it like makes your brain, because you're using your brain to move your eyes. So it's like your brain is in a different state that it was when you were just sitting there and thinking about your trauma or whatever.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
It's stupid. It's bullshit. It's obviously fake. She just needed to come up with a fucking scam to do or whatever. But so in the intervening years, though, they've added a lot of aspects to it, which are not just the eye thing. So the eye thing is still a central tenet of it. Don't get me wrong, but there's also they do something called first of all they go like this. They make you go like this.
All
so.
Right.
Your arms are crossed and you're patting on each other, patting on your alternate shoulders like this. And it's supposed to give brain confusion that adds to the effect.
Wow. You just look like a total psycho.
It is totally psychotic.
Just, like,
yeah.
Moving your eyes around and fucking patting yourself. Yeah. Like, what the fuck? It's instant basket case. What the
I mean,
just add water.
The Shapiro woman now came up with this, and you're saying that Victoria Goodwin participated in this shit?
During the time she was plotting to kill her husband. I also want to say this though. So the connection to this is very small, albeit, but I have to mention it because we're a schizo podcast. We have to talk about it. So in the book, The Controllers, which we discussed in literally last week's episode to the listeners, go check that out. They mentioned that there's a technique that is able to actually get you to feel different emotions by utilizing sound waves in like a specialized headphones, and it's called binaural beats. And they've figured out a way to like use like certain sounds that have been like cooked up in a computer program. I don't fucking know. I think it's pseudoscientific, to be honest, but it's supposed to be able to change your mind state just by playing the sound into your ears. Like your brain can't resist this sensation that your brain. And in the controllers, they use that to like control your mind, basically, or like change what you think about things. But I was shocked to see that in just the last 5 years, they've incorporated binaural beats into EMDR therapy. So there's something to this. Like there's something weird going on with this therapy. Even if it's just that.
Yeah. Well, are we at the point where I now defend the beautiful Victoria and Grant and blame it all on Aaron?
Let me just I have one more take about
that dick sucking Aaron.
You're leaning on an open door, by the way. just so you know, you're not gonna get any pushback from me here. Okay, so but one more thing. So we're gonna talk about the actual like the night of the assassination, air quotes. So this killing was supposed to take place on a certain night, and the lead up to it had Grant and Victoria texting with each other, DMing with each other, and she was saying like, Grant, do you think I'm a bad person when I could just divorce him, but instead I've decided to end his life? Which that was the damning text, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, whenever you want to ask a question like that, a triple murderer is a good candidate. You know, you're really like walking on firm ground there that he's going to be accepting.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that part. Like all my life, I wouldn't say I was a really good person or anything. I've often thought, how bad of a person am I? I never thought that actually the authoritative person to go and ask that would be Grant Amato. Like, when he gets another burner phone, I'll get in touch with him and ask him.
Yeah.
I think
Am
you
I a
should.
bad person? No.
He might have different things to say to you than the fucking the
Motherfucker's
Hispanic
surrounded by killers you know what I mean? Like, you're actually the best person I know.
I can't count on my hand 5 people that are better than you.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But
I
okay,
mean,
so
you're not that bad.
Besides all the people that I murdered, you're the best person I've ever met.
true.
How bad could you be? You've never even raped me.
Oh man! Nor did you ever take away my access to your money so I can pay your Ukrainian cam whore to show her tits to me.
I bet you never even showed a tits to him.
Yeah, I wonder. But okay, so there's one. No, I think there was X-rated. At least this. You know what? There's no definite photos have been exchanged, but they did say that they had X-rated conversations during this time.
Yeah, while she was doing the ironing.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, that's when they all do it, right? They're just doing it for you when they text you that stuff. Obviously, it's not. They're not getting anything out of it. But what's it called? Okay, but one other thing I was gonna say is, so the night that it was supposed to happen, during the course of the night, we know this was definitely going to happen because they texted between each other. Is it happened yet? Can I get an update and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, and Grant texted his guy as well, didn't he?
He texted somebody. Can I get an update? Yes. But here's the question. So obviously no murderer materialized that night when Aaron Goodwin supposedly was going to die.
He got the money though.
He must have.
Somebody got paid.
That's so
not all of it though. It's like it was like 2,500, I think, and then but it was the total was going to be 11,500.
Yeah,
which I heard and thought
righteous bucks.
It's a bargain.
That's a fucking steal.
Yeah,
to kill like an almost celebrity, you know. But then the murder didn't happen, so I guess you get what you pay for.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
yeah. But my question is, what if there's a real moral conundrum bound up in this. What if Grant was grassing her up the whole time, and there was no murder?
Yeah,
at all. He and that 2,500 was spent on fucking Ukrainian cam whores, possibly. On his phone. And this was just sort of a complex way for him to get closer to her emotionally and possibly get her to send boob pics.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
So, but
I get the feeling, but Grant's the kind of guy though that even if he got the money and there was a killer, right? As soon as he got the down payment, he'd just be like, "I'm just gonna get whores."
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Fuck that. I just got $2,500. He couldn't even go one night without stealing from his aunt, if you recall. That's why he got caught.
It's like, I don't give a shit if this guy lives or dies.
Yeah. So, but in that case, if he never sent the money to anybody and he just texted some random number, can I get an update? Was there a crime committed?
Oh. Very Kantian, yeah.
Conspiracy to murder. I would call it a crime.
Well, I'll leave that to William to defend that. That's not my role in this episode.
Yeah, you're definitely helping my case with all these points.
I know. I know. Yeah. We're a team. We're a legal team. But yeah, so I mean, here we go. I don't know. That's the thing. We don't know. There's no hitman has been caught at this time.
Yeah.
All we know is that a text was sent from Grant's burner phone to a number that said, "Can I get an update?" Now, this is the important thing: is that the very night that this was supposed to happen, Grant's phone was seized by the police, by the what do you call it? Corrections.
The screws. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. You lousy screw. But yeah, they so we don't know what happened. So months went by, and I guess so Victoria Goodwin was probably just going like, Guess I got ghosted by a guy in jail. I really am a loser.
Yeah.
Well, she was really lighthearted in the text that night.
Yeah.
To him, she was saying like, "I'm so anxious." LOL. It's like, what is this happening?
Plus, so lighthearted on that podcast that was recorded sometime shortly afterwards.
Shortly, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a conspire to murder my husband kind of gal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. A baby, I think you mean to say. Yeah. I'm
think
conspire to kill my husband, baby.
The worst thing the worst thing about that podcast, the best thing about it is that they've left it up. God bless them for that.
Set rules.
It doesn't matter. No one's listening to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
But my favorite thing about it is that the episode title is Victorious Victoria.
That rules.
Which rules? They got that wrong. They might want to edit that.
Right at her moment of triumph. This aged well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so a few months go by, and eventually they had the Grant Amato phone in the in like custody, I guess, at the at the Florida prison or whatever.
Yeah.
And they didn't look at it for a long time, like months.
Yeah.
And then finally they're like, hey, it'd be funny if we look at that pervert guy who killed his whole family's phone.
They didn't investigate it right away.
No, months went by.
Oh, I thought they didn't find it for months, but they found it that night. Oh wow, holy shit!
Yeah.
It's a crazy amount of time to go by, without just going like, hey, I wonder what he's doing with this thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is, it's crazy that they wouldn't glance at that and go like, what the fuck is he talking about?
Well, what do they care?
I mean, they probably just assumed he was. I think they also probably just assumed he was like doing he's up to his old tricks. He was just going on and talking to the fucking Bulgarian women again.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Maybe.
Oh, I'd love it if he'd managed to keep in touch with that one whore that he blew all that money on. And
that would be great.
I still have hope that one day they'll be together.
Yeah.
I'm sure he does too.
When she's 70 years old, yeah.
Well, she'll probably come across the border and get arrested for robbing a gas station or something, and so then he'd then have to transition to get transferred into her prison.
He'll become a woman, become a woman. So he go to her.
You're right.
Yeah.
These are the circumstances that would have to occur. Yeah, it's a long shot, but she's probably dead already anyway.
Yeah, Andrew Tate killed her. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what's
floating around in the bilges of Benjamin Netanyahu's yacht?
What was I gonna say? So okay, I think William, I think it's your time. I think it's time for you to let us know.
So I'm going to do the rebuttal. Well, first of all, we've established beyond doubt that this guy was not the ideal husband. He was away a lot.
Agree.
This lady needs a lot of attention.
Can I just add to that real quick? And I'm not to contradict you at all.
Yeah.
I don't see why she couldn't just go with him on location. She has no obligations in life. In this podcast, she referred to having what she talked about having what she referred to as boneless days, meaning a day that she laid in bed all day so that you would not know that she possessed bones.
Yes. Well, that's my client would argue that
I think when he was hanging out with her, he had a lot of boneless days.
That's so true.
Yeah, he wouldn't let her go with him.
Yeah.
That's what I would advise my client to say. She wanted to go with him. She wanted to make the marriage work, but he wouldn't let her go with him.
Ghosts.
He wanted to be alone with his smoking buddy from work.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So
I don't know if that's going to hold up in court. That like, look, he's a faggot.
Yeah.
When I
the
take
victim
power,
in this case happens to be a faggot.
No, but that's emotional abuse. She just wanted to be a good wife and to go there and polish his golf clubs and what have you.
No, her golf clubs.
Yeah, but he wouldn't allow her, and that's basically, from her point of view, that's psychological abuse. Like sort of a woman raising an eyebrow at her when she goes to buy a quinceanera dress. to her is a major psychological trauma. So imagine not being allowed to go on a work trip with your husband, how that must feel to such a woman. So I think that's quite understandable that and also she's a Catholic. Divorce is forbidden. So
now you're hitting the real talking points. I didn't even
the
think
Henry
about
the Henry VIII defense. Yeah.
Yeah. So this was good enough for Henry VIII. I mean, she's probably descended from Spanish royalty.
Could be.
Or at least nobility
Portuguese,
of some kind.
yeah.
And so we've got the motivation. Of course, you can't get divorced. It's against God. But look at Jael, the wife of Heber in the Bible. She drove spikes into a guest's head, iron spikes into a man's head who was sleeping at her house during the night while he was asleep. And she was highly thought of in consequence of it. So I don't see why there's one law for Jael, the wife of Heber, and another
context,
law for
please.
Victoria Goodwin.
Any context in the?
Oh no, it was totally cold-blooded. It was.
It was, yeah. That's during that mean part of the Bible.
Yeah. And then, she's got all these psychological diseases. She's probably been experimented on by the CIA.
I believe so.
I believe that her father put her into some crank therapy thing. Also, as a child, he also, like all Hispanic parents,
pierced her ears.
Like all Hispanic parents, he was like what's the name for it? Where they got really pushy parents, like Asian parents.
Like a tiger daddy.
Yeah, he was like a tiger daddy, like all Hispanic dads are.
Obviously.
He was making sure she was playing tournament golf aged 8.
True, actually.
Which it's such a common experience in the Hispanic community that
obviously, yeah.
She got full scholarship to university. She's been under that pressure, and like on her own evidence.
Not to blow apart any of this, but I will say that all of those things are very prevalent within the biracial community,
right?
Particularly the college scholarship part.
Yeah,
but if you give a golf club to most Spanish kids, they're just gonna fucking start whacking at a pinata, you know?
Yeah.
Right. Sell it for scrap metal.
Yeah. So she's managed to get this dream husband, and it turns out that
he's a
he's
nightmare
gay.
husband.
Yeah, he's a nightmare husband. He's mean to her. He only lets her have one pink convertible car.
He only takes her to Disney World 12 times a year.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah. So this is a clear pattern of a domestic abuse that she's been living under. She's basically a battered wife.
Yeah, she has complex PTSD. Every time she has to go out to dinner, which is obviously often because she doesn't know how to cook.
Yeah.
She has to have a whole pitcher of water sitting next to her.
And her husband just rubs it in by giving her his water glass. He's like gloating. He's saying,
I don't even need it.
Yeah.
Yeah, taking her out to these dinners that she can't even swallow.
What a cunt.
He's sitting there swallowing like a champ.
Yeah.
Delicious.
He swallows a lot every weekend when he's away.
Feel that digestion.
He's just like English Mark, he swallows the smoke.
Yes, he inhales cigars. Meaning, by the way, is that is also fiscal abuse, obviously, because he's willfully shortening his life by constantly puffing cigars, amongst other things. Yeah. Also,
cutting short his earning years, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yes. So that's clearly fiscal abuse, obviously.
Yeah, she's
taxing his heart by all these scares in these haunted houses.
The ghost. Let's not even get into the liability that comes with being a ghost hunter.
Yeah, imagine the PTSD. How that affects her PTSD when she's any time he's away working, he might get eaten by a ghost or something and never come back again.
She's worried sick.
You never know. He could bring a ghost into their home. She has to live every night knowing that he could walk back into that house haunted.
Yeah, I was just having one of my boneless days, and what should walk into the bedroom? A fucking skeleton.
Way to rub it in.
Oh, excuse me, I'm just having a heart attack.
Mm.
Fucking Skellington, mate. Right. So,
Well, plus, let's not forget too, Grant Amato, if you look at him, irresistible to women.
Obviously.
he always looks that photograph they always use of him is just
It's great. It's great.
He has just been crying, hasn't he?
Let me just pull it up. Let me just quickly pull it up.
Which I think,
Is
honestly,
this when he's in jail with the mustache?
Yeah.
oh, the one I'm thinking is the one where he's got.
Oh yeah.
This
He
one,
looks
right?
like-
He had
this-
clearly
this
been
is-
crying. Like,
Yeah, this
you
is
can
what
see
would have
his
happened
red
to-
eyes.
This
Yeah.
looks like Fredo, before he got if he would have lived instead of getting shot.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. But yeah, the red ringed
I'm
eyes.
smart. I could have been a I could have been an anesthesia nurse.
Yeah.
Not dumb.
God, the dude had a well-paid job. Like, it's not like, I mean, yeah, he's not like, classically handsome or anything, but he could have got a girlfriend.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway,
Now
that's
he's
the
a lot.
other. I'm moving on. So I've now established.
Even
that
faggots can get wives.
I've now,
I mean, yeah.
I've now
If you
established.
believe in
that
ghosts.
I've now established beyond doubt that she's the victim of her husband. I'm now going to establish that she's also the victim of Grant Amato. He entrapped her into this.
This is the angle I thought you were going to go with.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's brilliant. Brilliant. This is legal masterwork.
Well, he's in prison. He wants extra privileges. So I think he obviously had this burner phone. He's going, and what he has done, it's been said in court, he's cooperated fully with the authorities. Now, I think he's getting the shit kicked pounded out of him in prison for this daily at the moment, because he's basically done the stool pigeon thing. And so
Oh yeah.
it's like you
This
said,
angle.
Scott, did he start snitching after they found his phone, or was the finding of the phone merely the culmination of this sting operation that he did in order to get an extra bit of pudding at dinner every day or something like that?
Some tokens, a weekly stipend of tokens.
So yeah, some cam whore tokens.
Does he even get to keep the money that she paid him? Does
Well,
he? I mean, if he didn't pay a
nobody knows
hitman,
what
does he
happened to
get to? Yeah.
Yeah, no one knows it's a phantom money.
She was going to pay him in phones. I think it said it in one story that I read. Actually,
right?
pay him in phones.
Well, that's probably currency in jail.
Yeah. Well, that's sad, isn't it?
You know what would be would have been a perfect fucking ending for is if Aaron Goodwin and his show Ghost Adventures actually went to the home of Grant Amato's murdered family
Yeah.
looking for ghosts.
Oh my god, that's brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be getting
Talking
your own
about
back,
ratings, but boom, yeah. Ratings powerhouse. Yeah.
If that's not the premiere show this season,
Sweeps week.
they're
Well,
missing
what if it was the producers of the show that were behind the whole thing? What if it was?
I like where you're going with this.
What if Aaron's smoking buddy was one of the producers of the show, and they were scheming to get rid of her? So they got in touch with through his buddy at the prison authorities. This wealthy producer got in touch with them and got them to recruit Grant Amato into this, thereby removing her for as many as 3 years from his life.
Firstly, like, so
It saved him a lot of alimony. He's not going to get an alimony judgment against him, is he now?
Nope.
No, definitely.
Clean
I
break.
mean, I don't know. It's California.
Yeah.
Anything's possible.
You're gonna get it's all gonna all the money's gonna be put into her commissary.
And who persuaded Netflix to make that special that she watched? That got him.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
I
There
bet-
now you're thinking with portals.
we ought to look into this. I bet it's the same production company.
I could probably find out actually. It's his Paramount Plus. I know that much. So
No,
it's
it's
not
best-
exactly the same.
Well, the
Right.
production companies shop them around, don't they?
True that.
I
true that.
I think that might be the most startling fact in this whole story is that someone watches Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
Well, they host all the Star Trek shows on there.
Well, plus those guys are in. The guy's in the TV business, so I guess he'll have all the TV, won't he? Because he'll want to know. Because, like, I'm a truck driver, and I'm quite happy where I am in my job, but I'm always looking around at what jobs are available to make sure that I'm getting paid everything that I can.
Make sure
get
that
paid.
you're still happy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I'm sure guys in TV do that as well. So they'll read Variety and shit like that, won't they? And watch all these shit new shows.
Okay,
I'm convinced, man. Case dismissed.
Yeah, but this brings us on to the sentencing, which happened yesterday.
Perfect.
Yeah, Scott, have you got the details?
Well, I'm trying to figure out this. I'm trying to figure out this production theory here. So I got the name of the executive producer of Control Alt Desire. This guy named Colin Archdeacon at Paramount Plus. Let's just quickly see what is the production.
Yeah, let's take a moment to debunk this wild theory.
Yeah, don't debunk it. We should just have left that at, I like the sound of it.
I do like the sound of it too, but a Discovery Channel, is that anything to do with?
I mean, all these things are all covered up with.
Yeah, they're all owned by. I think they are all owned by Viacom, not for
pseudonyms and everything. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, we're definitely right.
Well, all right, so I will say this. So a couple weeks ago, she had her. She decided she was going to plead guilty to it with obviously plead down, and the conspiracy to commit murder charge was dropped.
Actually. No, it was the other way. No, she got convicted of. She pled guilty to conspiracy.
Oh, right.
And they dropped procuring.
That's right. I'm sorry. Yeah, I got it completely backwards. Yeah. Okay, so they dropped the procuring charge, and so that was part of the plea deal. And
soliciting a guy to kill.
Yeah.
The guy. Yeah.
Right.
That's right. Yeah.
So she pled guilty, and then it was pretty quick, I gotta say, after that honestly shockingly fast, because we all know how notoriously slow the legal system is. Obviously,
well, they did have
in between.
So now that I'm back to being neutral now, so they had overwhelming evidence. So once you've pled guilty, that's it. It's just straight to sentencing.
Yeah, usually they make a twist in the wind and sit in jail, though, and not know what your fate is going to be, like as part of a psychological torture, though,
Well, we shouldn't overlook this, that like right after the authorities said, right after they arrested her for trying to kill him, for trying to get a hitman to kill him, Erin's legal team, her husband's legal team, said in a court filing, the views, tastes, likes, and dislikes of husband and wife have become incompatible.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
That's putting it lightly.
Well done for
it's a masterpiece of understatement.
Yeah.
I don't like being killed by a hitman.
I like investigating the paranormal. She likes plotting my murder. I don't care for that.
I mean, I guess I'll take responsibility for it. I've changed. Maybe I used to like being murdered.
Yeah.
Now it's not to my taste.
Hey, I could have been a ghost. That's sort of somewhat like my interest.
At least he might not have lost his job. I came up with a great scenario. This is another out there take of mine. I am so angry with these meddling busybody prison authorities going through Grant's phone and looking at his private messages. They've ruined it for everybody because
have they ever heard of the Fifth Amendment?
Yeah. Imprisonment is supposed to be you've just got to stay in this building. It's not supposed to be you're not allowed to communicate with anybody or be in love. So to start with, that's completely
it's encouraged.
A certain kind of love.
Yes. Shit! I forgot. I've lost my train of thought now.
Oh no!
No, it's not your fault. I wrote it down in a message to Scott the other day.
I know what you're gonna say. Yeah. So it's not the police's or the
the busybody police. Yeah.
The
busybody prison authorities have ruined it because if they'd have been allowed to have a second attempt and they'd finally just imagine if instead of the busybody prison authorities intercepting these communications, what if the plot had actually been successful? Aaron Goodwin had got killed, and then and she'd got away with it until he appears on the TV show and blows the whistle on her as a ghost.
Oh, my wife's.
I mean, that could still happen, couldn't it?
I will say this: at least she likes bald guys. Like, you know what I mean? Like both of these parties are bald guys. So, bald kings honestly don't give up hope.
Yeah, because she is technically a 10. Adjusted score. She's a 10.
Well, the real shame is that it ended with a plea deal. We didn't get to see it go to trial.
Yeah.
Grant Amato testifying.
Well, I heard this Nevada lawyer talking about that, and he was saying that, like, from what he'd seen, both cases were absolutely open and shut, slam dunk. If they'd gone to trial, there would have 100% been convictions on them. But it's just so busy in the court that because they had 2 charges, there's basically the tactics is they just say, okay, we don't want any trials, so we'll give you 2 charges, plead guilty to one of them, and we won't have a trial.
And they walked her into this sweetheart deal of the sentencing. Do we even
insane.
have to? It amounts to. Do you mind if I, Scott?
No,
it amounts
go ahead,
to
please.
3 to 7.5 years.
Yeah,
too much. Let her
but
out
the
now.
actual maximum.
She knows what she did.
the maximum sentence is only 10 years. It's insane. In England, it would be life in prison for that. I don't think it's mandatory for conspiracy, but there's a principle in English criminal law that an inchoate offence, they call it, which is attempted or conspiracy to, that kind of thing, where it hasn't actually been done, but you had the intention of doing it and you took steps towards doing it. Those sort of offences carry the same penalty as the main offence, which is
and I think that's actually kind of correct, because just being bad at something doesn't mean that you failed at murder.
Yeah.
Why should you get all these points just for not actually pulling it off?
But why should another red hot smoke show of a woman spend the rest of her life in jail just because she happened to get through to Grant Amato at a time when he had the number of a guy who would do it?
They both had too much time on their hands, both Victoria and Grant, I think.
Yeah,
that's been a consistent problem for Grant, I think.
Yeah.
But, it's true, man. The sentences are lighter here. I had a woman actually try to murder me with a gun.
Yeah.
8 years house arrest.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
that's more, though.
Yeah. But it's only house arrest. But that
true.
That interview with that Vegas lawyer, he said he thought, looking at the facts of this case, she'd probably get a long period of probation with a suspended sentence. So this 2 to 7.5 years sentence is characterized as quite harsh. It's just mental, isn't it?
When I saw they were giving the sentence in months, I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me.
4,000 months. Yeah.
It was 36 to 90 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit.
Crazy.
Boy,
Free her.
That'll teach her.
Well, she was only trying to kill a white man.
That's true.
True. Yeah, when we take power, we'll pardon her, along with Derek Chauvin.
And Grant.
And Grant Amato, obviously.
Grant did nothing wrong.
We'll just plug Grant into the Matrix. Yeah. He would love to just have electrodes put into his brain and just be in the internet, wouldn't he? He'd love that.
He looks like it's already happening,
Yeah.
He's Mega Mind, yeah. He's got the Mega Mind dome.
With like what do they pocket pussy they call it, don't they? Or a nozzle off a milking machine just in his lap, and his head, top of his head cut open with all the electrodes coming out of it, and just gooning on the internet.
That's a separate CIA therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have no dick, but I must come.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'd be fucking sick. We should do that.
I think we've about done it. I think we've got most of my stupid takes in.
Yeah, I got my takes in where he was grassing her up, and then also that he's gay. That's a major tenet of what I wanted to get to.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. That him being a snitch all along I think that's spot on.
Yeah.
It goes to show what they leave out, because it's not like people didn't, like, you had to kind of dig to get to that smoking buddy thing.
Yeah.
Right?
It was they showed it as a screenshot in the background of another video. I had to pause it and zoom in to look at it.
Right.
Yeah, right. So it's not like they're telling that crime coverage is just really poor as far as that goes. They want clear victim aggressor or victim perpetrator narratives, and they always benefit somebody when the bias kicks in.
That's true. Your analysis of it over the years has been absolutely spot on. You'll like go through a story and say, "Oh, okay, yeah, this is the victim. This is all the components of it," and to see you deconstruct a newspaper story it's like the ultimate guru on it.
To that end, I forget the name before we go. I just wanted to real quick, William, have you heard of I forget the name of the story, but there was a story about this woman in England, not too far from where you're from, if I'm not mistaken, in the 70s, and supposedly aliens, it was Christmas time, and aliens went into her house and ate a bunch of puddings. Ate a bunch of puddings.
Jesus Christ! That's the most English thing I've ever heard.
I know. And so the woman
injected her ass with a certain amount of fat.
Well, you're gonna like my
puddings.
Take.
Come on, man.
You're gonna like my take. So that she became this international star of ufology in England, or at least like in England's biggest story of like UFO encounter or whatever. And like hundreds of people came to visit her or whatever. And immediately when I heard the story, she tells a story about how like the dog, they had a dog, and supposedly aliens came into the house or whatever. And like her explanation for why the dog didn't bite them or like react or whatever is because, they shot like a laser beam at the dog so the dog wouldn't attack or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I was just thinking like, no, what happened was some guy came over to fuck her. The dog knew her. Dog knew the guy, so he didn't bark at the guy. And then he ate some of the puddings. And when her husband came home, he was like, where's the fucking puddings? and then
I've been looking forward to getting them all day while I was at work.
I wanted all of them.
Oh, there's aliens came down and ate the fucking puddings, and the dog was paralyzed totally. That was my instant thought that immediately. And there's like I watched a 35-minute long video about this, and the whole time that's all I could think about.
Yeah. No, they do lie. I did that. That was the one thing about the text that we've used to conclude that Goodwin is gay.
Yeah.
I did, and when you shared that with me initially, I mean, I tend to agree with you, but I will say in mitigation of Aaron that.
Good. I'm glad we got to this.
Married women do lie to their boyfriends even more than they lie to their husbands.
Probably true. Yes. So there could be a fictitious smoking buddy. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe just some guy, whatever.
Yeah.
But he does come off pretty faggy.
Yeah. The old Disney thing, the voice. It's a litany. It's a litany of things.
Yeah.
But I think we covered it pretty well. Pat, obviously, joy to have you on the show. Big laughs as always. And what would you like to promote to the History Homos peeps this week?
Well, I got a new show over on censored.tv, now also known as compoundcensored.tv. And it's
full circle.
Yeah, it's like I think we're calling it Jokes Kill, but it's like it's so I'm on 4 nights a week over there live. Wow. And still doing New York City Crime Report right over there where we talk about crime stories, and it's all a real irreverent.
How come Pat Dixon gets 4 nights a week? I only get one afternoon.
I got kids. But it's all you got to do is just be willing to work for nothing.
Yes.
But use the promo code PAT, P-A-T, over at censored.tv, and you subscribe. You get 20% off monthly and annual subscriptions, and you get it for next to nothing. It's a great network. A lot of great shit. Gavin McInnes, Anthony Cumia. Need I say more?
Cumia on there now, yeah.
Yeah, it's really an awesome happening now, and the app works like a fucking dream.
Wow, that's a fucking 180.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, there's no bullshit over there. You press the button, you're watching the show.
Wow. My fucking hero. My fucking hero. Yeah, great. And Pat always, Pat also, did you have like locals and stuff like that too to go check out?
Yeah, but I figure send them to one place,
Yeah.
That's smart. I agree with that. Pat Dixon NYC on Twitter and
it's actually just Pat Dixon on Twitter.
Right.
What do you know?
Did he get banned?
I didn't get banned.
Oh, I thought it used to be Pat Dixon. No, it's actually a other thing, isn't it?
Yeah. But just I actually got straight Pat Dixon, and I was verified before everybody was getting verified. So
right.
Based.
It was hot shit back in 2013.
Yeah.
The salad days.
Because you've got granddad's rights to verification. Do you have to pay, or is it just because you're so?
Yeah,
cool
eventually they took it away, and I had to buy it.
Oh,
all the grandfathered in shit. Yeah, fuck Elon Musk.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
He's got a weird looking face. Never liked the guy. Also, electric cars, gay.
Yeah, agree with that. There's no replacement for displacement, brother.
So true. All right. Anyway, for us, www.historyhomos.com for the RSS feed. We're also available on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, BitChute, Odyssey, Rumble, Rockfin, and most importantly, join us. If you like this show, you can get 100% more show. That's one episode a week in addition to this one at historyhomospod.substack.com. Join the massive success over at Substack. So historyhomospod.substack.com, and 100% more show. And it's not just like we're not going to now hit stop and then go, all right, well, what the fuck are we going to talk about? No, I did a 2-hour and 15-minute episode where I covered some recent news events such as the Palantir contract with the federal government, Iran nuclear deal stuff, and then also we spent fucking an hour and a half talking about the difference between kitsch and schlock.
Right. Are you going to do an episode on Hamas's attack on Doncaster?
It's a little old news, but you know what? We can pull some strings. I think we can pull some strings on that. But yeah,
wait
so go
longer,
check that
man. Just let it be history, you know.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah. Historyhomospod.substack.com. Thank you very much for listening to all that. And also, follow us across social media at History Homos Pod, and you can join us at this time of recording. Still the friendliest place on the internet on Telegram. T.me/historyhomos is the channel. T.me/historyhomos chat is the chat. And when you get there, be warned, you have to say a slur of some kind to prove that you're not a Indian crypto scammer. So just one little note there. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, email me at historyhomospod@gmail.com. And you can also order a t-shirt there by sending me your size and address, and we'll figure all those good stuff. And die with dignity. William, is there anything you want to say before we hit the road?
It's great being in Yorkshire.
Later, homos.
I wake up at noon in my gamer chair, crusty hoodie, Cheeto hair, got tabs on tabs, my screen's aglow. Rule 34 is my morning Joe, but today the stars aligned. She said, hey, a nearly flat line out of my league, yeah, way past that, but now she's sitting on my anime mat. Coomer gets a girl and the chaps can cry. Gooners stay winning while the gym bros sigh. Took her back to my goon cave, RGB lights were. Now this soy boy king just conquered the world. They called me cringe, they called me weird, mocked my waifu shrine, I persevered. She liked my Gengar tattoo sleeve, now she's asking if she can never leave. We watched Evangelion on a scuffed CRT, she said, well, you're deep, and fell for me. No six-pack, just a snack.